The Saints have officially wrapped up their first week of training camp in West Virginia, and WDSU sports anchor Fletcher Mackel is with the team there and joins us now to talk about a special surprise guest that came to practice today.
That's right. Good Sunday evening from White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, and Saints Training Camp 2016. The Black and Gold had a special visitor today, native New Orleanian and two-time Super Bowl champion Peyton Manning. Manning was here at the Greenbrier Resort for a speaking engagement, but during a break, he had to sneak over and watch the Saints work out. He caught up with friends Drew Brees and Sean Payton, and he joked with Roman Harper, telling the veteran safety that he's now 1-1 against him. Of course, the Saints, with Harper on board, beat Peyton Manning in Super Bowl 44, but last winter, when Roman was a member of the Carolina Panthers, Peyton and the Denver Broncos won Super Bowl 50.
He said we were even, and we laughed about it, we joked, and I gave him a hug, and I told him congratulations and all those things right there. But you got to understand and respect this guy, all the great things he's done, the way he has changed and molded this game, the way he's been able to compete for such a long level and be so successful. You envy him. And at the end of the day, you just tip your hat off to him and understand that we're all competitors. And he was able to do it for 18 years in this league and be able to be so great for so long. Just amazing that he gets to go out on top the way he did.
Harper hopes he gets back on top with another Super Bowl championship. Entering his 11th NFL season and 9th overall with the Saints, the 33-year-old says it seems like just yesterday he was arriving in New Orleans as a wide-eyed rookie back in 2006.
When I see Drew's son, the one that his oldest one, where he's holding him in the Super Bowl, he's like not even 1 year old, and now he's grown. You know, had his fake tattoos on the other day before we left for camp. It's just, it's amazing how time flies, and you just really try and cherish these moments, the relationships that you build through this game, this experience. I really just try and I don't take that for granted anymore, and that every day is a blessing out here, and I'm gonna make sure I enjoy myself and really enjoy this trip.
Roman knows his days as a starter are for all practical purposes over. He was brought back to New Orleans to clean up a locker room in need of leadership, and Harper is fine with that. But
I don't want to just show up here and think it's a spy and I'm just doing this and I'm just here hanging out. I got to show these guys that I can still go out there and play at a high level. And not only the coaches, but my teammates. So they believe in me and they trust in me. They know exactly how we're going to be able to execute on Sundays.
Coming up later during our sportscast, we'll hear from several Saints offensive players, most notably rookie wide receiver Michael Thomas. He's been fantastic since the team started workouts on Thursday, and new veteran tight end Kobe Fleener. For now, though, in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, I'm Fletcher Mackel, WDSU News.
All right.
Good Sunday evening, everyone. I'm Fletcher Mackel here in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia for Saints Training Camp 2016. The first week of workouts here at the Greenbrier Resort are in the books. And the big storyline, the Saints defense. New coordinator Dennis Allen has seemingly cleaned up a lot of Rob Ryan's mistakes. Cam Jordan looks in midseason form in Delvin Breaux. One word, wow. He has just been fantastic. He could really be a breakout star in the NFL in 2016.
He's one of the best corners I've ever seen at the line of scrimmage. He's fast, he's huge, he's got great hand-eye coordination. Year 2 and 3 are going to be really big for him, and I'm sure he'll be one of those guys you're talking about.
Today, we're also talking about P.J. Williams. The second-year corner out of Florida State University had a nice pass breakup. So did free agent linebacker Craig Robertson. The former Cleveland Brown has been a very pleasant surprise since joining the Saints as a free agent. Also on defense, Obum Gwasham has been working with the first unit at defensive end. A former wide receiver at Oregon State University, Gwasham has only been playing defense for 2 years. Born in Nigeria, the 6'5", 250-pounder more than passes the eyeball test. But can he produce on D?
With defense, it's more of a, you see and you react and you go get the ball. That's, as an offensive player, it's a little bit more different than that. So I think the defensive side, it's, is less thinking, I guess.
There's a handful of those guys working over there at that weak side end position, and when we see the film, we had some competitive periods, and he did definitely get to the quarterback a few times. I think the key with some of those guys is how well they perform. The other element, how he handles the running game, point of attack, some of the things that'll be a challenge. It'll be a little bit more new.
Offensively, one of the plays of the day on Sunday came from unknown wide receiver Jake Lampman. Who? That's right, the diminutive, undrafted free agent out of Ferris State University in Michigan has been playing very well. A more heralded rookie wide receiver is, of course, Michael Thomas, the Saints' second-round draft pick out of Ohio State University. He continues to dazzle. On Friday, he made the play of training camp thus far. He told us today he still has work to do, but the pro game is something that he's adjusting to nicely.
Some people might say it's like cocky or something. It's not cocky. That's just how I approach the game. When I line up one-on-one, and my mindset as a receiver, I feel like no one can cover me if I do my job, do what I was taught, off of repetition and people I went against and, drills I practice. I feel like I can't be covered.
But if defenses can cover Thomas, Drew Brees has many other weapons, like new tight end Coby Fleener. The former Indianapolis Colt signed a 5-year, $36 million contract to come play with number 9.
There's absolutely some catching up to do on my part. Drew could write the playbook if he wanted to. And I mean, he's just that well versed in what we're doing. And if it was a different quarterback, it may have taken us weeks and weeks and weeks. But his ability to adjust has made my transition much easier.
Coming up in the second half hour of this newscast, we've dedicated the WDSU hot seat to all things black and gold. I go one-on-one with Mike Neighbors from Cox Sports TV to talk about the 2016 edition of the New Orleans Saints. And don't forget, follow all of the WDSU social media platforms, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Will have social media live updates during all of the Saints workouts here in West Virginia. For now, though, in White Sulphur Springs, I'm Fletcher Mackel, WDSU News. Good Sunday evening, everyone. I'm Fletcher Mackel here at the Greenbrier Resort in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. This is a special black and gold edition of the Sunday night WDSU Hot Seat. Joined now with Mike Neighbors from Cox Sports. You're the Saints insider for Cox Sports. Just general thoughts on the first 4 days of training camp here in the mountains.
You know, what stands out for me was Sean Payton. He always has talked about, since day number 1, since the Saints reported, this team has an eagerness to please. A lot of young players and really guys who weren't even rookies a year ago, guys like Delvin Breaux, and you look at this rookie class, they saw how last season went. They know the history of this franchise. They haven't had back-to-back losing seasons since the late 1990s. They want to play better football. So I think the eagerness to please, Payton has said it a few times in his press conference, I think that's from the veterans to the rookies last year, and it's transferred to this year's rookie class too.
We've had a lot of rhetoric. I don't know if it's going to become reality of we've got the right guys doing the right thing the right way. They've said that for the past few years, and I felt like it was a little bit of lip service, but I really think with guys like James Laurinaitis, Harper being back, the last 2 draft classes, do you feel like this is a team that could take that step and do something special?
It's tough to say. It's definitely a broken record with the Saints team. You look at the year after year. Can the defense just play average football because you know the offense is going to be there? But I think an interesting comparison, I know it's dangerous to do this year after year, but look at the Saints back in 2008. They're coming off 2 seasons where they didn't have a winning record. Who would have predicted 2009 with the Super Bowl? I'm not saying Super Bowl this time around, but you have some interesting additions on defense, kind of like the Saints had back then. I'm not saying Laurinaitis is Jonathan Vilma, but you have leadership there. You have Keenan Lewis and Jarris Byrd coming back. The secondary is going to be better, but boy, that defensive line, a lot of question marks. Bottom line, a lot of ifs for this football team. Can they translate into exclamation points? We're going to find out, but a lot of question marks in this team right now.
Yeah, I think I would agree 100% with that assessment. Michael Thomas, the Saints' second-round draft pick, has been really spectacular. Look, he's had a couple of young player mistakes. I know he had a false start on Sunday morning, but the catch on Friday, it was just, everybody was oohing and eyeing. Just your thoughts on him, another weapon for Drew Brees.
What you like about Michael Thomas, he met the media for the first time this week after he made all these great catches, and the things he was saying were, I want to get better. I got to play better. I'm not content on this. Yeah, I have confidence starting off this way early in camp, but it also shows me how good Ohio State was, because I didn't see him making these plays for the Buckeyes, and they were still a pretty good football team.
As far as defensively, is there anybody that's jumped out? Delvin Breaux has just been spectacular. Cam Jordan seems like he is just fired up. I didn't know if there's anybody else that maybe sticks out besides those 2 guys.
I think P.J. Williams is a guy you got to look at. A decent draft class for Sean Payton a year ago, but he was a guy who battled injuries, but he came out of Florida State, and you thought, you know what, that might be a steal for the Saints, drafting him when they did, and he has stepped up and played well in OTAs and minicamp, and that's translated here. You saw early on in camp Sean Payton even going over and high-fiving him after a big play. So I think P.J. Williams Williams. You have Damian Swan back too. I mean, this secondary is not only healthy, but now all of a sudden it's deep too.
Dennis Allen was the secondaries coach here, or the secondary coach here from 2006 through 2010. I'm a Dennis Allen fan. I liked what he did here when he went to Denver as the coordinator, and then Oakland's a tough situation. But he's back now, unlike the past coordinators that came in with all the bravado, Rob Ryan, Greg Williams, even Steve Spagnuolo as a former head coach. I think it's good to kind of maybe have this steady hand, so to say, and simplify things a bit. Do you think the players feel the same way?
I think no doubt about it. When you look at Sean Payton's tenure in New Orleans, I think steady and consistent is what he wanted to make in this franchise. And you had the revolving door defensive coordinator. Yeah, maybe the pressure was to get rid of Rob Ryan after two seasons ago. I think he wanted to keep that continuity to see if it could work. But back to your question, the main difference is organization. I mean, you see it at practice even so far in this young training camp. The players seem to be more on the same page. There's not as many missed assignments. They're crisper, more organized defense so far, and I think the players have to gravitate toward that.
Looking ahead now, a week from now, we'll all be going to Boston for the first preseason game. Last year, when the Patriots came here, Tom Brady just went to work on the Saints defense. I remember he was, I think, 16 for 16 to start in passing drills, and we said, oh, you know what? It's a training camp practice. It doesn't really matter. And then it just kind of spiraled out of control. How important do you think those practices are in that preseason game is for this defense that's been much maligned for 2 years?
You know, you hit it on the head. I think it's very important because for the first time, we've both covered Sean Payton every year in New Orleans. He talked about in his opening press conference, these preseason games matter. They're very important to a football team like this where we're trying to establish a mindset, and we have so many young guys who are trying to advance on this football team. I've never heard him emphasize that as much as he has early on, and I think it's true. I think this team has to win early because they want that early start, because the last 2 seasons they've been 1-3, and if that continues, the losing will continue too.
All right, final question here before we wrap up. Do the Saints go to the playoffs in 2016?
That's tough. I would say no right now because there's too many question marks. The offensive line, a lot of question marks there. We talked about the defense. I think a lot of things have to go right. I'm saying 8-8 right now. I'm not saying playoffs.
Wow, Mike Neighbors going out on a limb early. Yeah. We appreciate your time. Thank you so very much. Mike Neighbors, Saints Insider for Cox Sports TV. All right, that's going to do it for the WDSU Hot Seat on Sunday night. Let's send it back to you in the studio in New Orleans.
All right, some great analysis there. Thank you, Fletcher, and we'll be right back after the break.